It's precisely 2200 hours in Banjul, and this is GRTS News, broadcasting live from our studios on MDI Road. In the headlines this hour, regional delegates met in Dakar for the 15th Annual Forum of Operatives for the Guarantee of Economic Emergence in Africa. Roads networks biting in development prospects in rural Gambia. GRTS News examines the impacts of a new 38-kilometer road scheme connecting major centers in the North Bank region. Away from home, Nigeria experiences its worst coastal flooding in more than a decade, with nearly 1.4 million people fleeing their homes for higher ground. The first of 9,000 Russian troops arrive in Belarus as Minsk and Moscow set up a joint unit against mounting Ukrainian offensives. Well, that's at the top of the news, and much more coming ahead with me, Aissatou Keita. Thanks for joining us. Well, it's great to have you here with us. We begin with a major forum of operatives for the Guarantee of Economic Emergence in Africa, which is hosting its 15th annual forum and gala at the King Fahd Palace in Dakar. The international forum attracted scores of representatives, including Gambian delegates from both the public and private sector. As Rahibite tells us, the Gambia's Minister of Communication and Digital Economy and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and Gambians Abroad are among many dignitaries in attendance.
It is an annual event, but one that has stood out over the years, with each year proving more relevant as stakeholders in the private and public sectors of Africa gather to dialogue and exchange ideas on ways of strengthening the economic cooperation of the continent. The Forum of Operatives for the Guarantee of Economic Cooperation in Africa, FOSECA, held its 15th edition at the King Fahd Palace in Dakar, where it all started, attracting entrepreneurs and policy makers from far and wide. The president of FOSECA, Amadou Diagne, hailed the process FOSECA has made since its formation, with only Senegalese at the start. Today, the body can boast of delegates from different parts of Africa. The gathering allowed delegates to discuss pertinent topics of relevance to Africa's development. There are many challenges in Africa, but whatever this may be, it is we Africans that will fix it, and we can only do it through trust and cooperation with the guidance of our governments to form public-private partnerships, he said. Mr. Diagne further applauded the delegation from the Gambia, whose collaboration, he said, has been instrumental, while hailing His Excellency President Adama Barrow for providing the enabling environment. According to him, their objective is to promote the economic growth of Africa. The Gambian delegation, among them the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Usman Ba, recounted on the significance of their participation in this year's forum and gala.
The purpose of this event is to really connect Gambian businesses and trade to help Gambia recognize the talent it has in terms of connecting and building this ecosystem in partnering and developing our own continent.
He further called for the need to embrace digital economy to ease trade facilitation.
But one thing that was missing that I didn't see is having a cross-border payment. I think it's important we address that, because when you look at the EU, if you have a company in the West and you have a license in the EU, you can operate in all the EU countries for one license. So I think it is important we African, we also start to look at that, even starting with the 15 ECOWAS member states.
The evening was punctuated with a gala night and musical performances from Senegalese, Malian and Congolese artists. Persons whose significant contribution in their line of work continue to inspire growth in Africa were awarded in various categories from commerce, medicine, development, cooperation, culture, among others, with Africell Gambia receiving the award on the category of telecommunication at the night. The late John Balogo Seka was also given a befitting remembrance award for his past contributions towards the growth of Foseka, an award his son, Wali Balogo Seka, received with pride.
Uncle Amadou Diagne, because of Kolore Moilep, Temingi Samu Kolore bi.
Delegates are expected to return home with new ideas and connections aimed at improving the economic development of Africa. Rohi Bitei, GRTS.
Traveling can sometimes be a challenge in rural Gambia, especially in districts where road conditions are not motorable. This limits the movement of people, goods and services, significantly reducing development impacts. For almost 55 years before the coming of the Barrow administration, communities around the Sanjal district battled with bad roads. However, a new 38-kilometer road network connecting them to major growth centers is quickly brightening the region prospects. Our correspondent in the region traveled to Bambali to observe the impact of newly constructed roads.
There used to be a time when our elders would trek for kilometers to Njen Sanjal in order to access services such as health care. Then the road conditions were terrible.
Nibe futala Njen Sanjal kata tensi. Ni noske ni pare de mura ne singon la kwatanki. Fenta fostilo la kwale ya motoboka soto.
It lasts silently for decades. Today, the light of development is shining over Bambali.
Bi alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
Today, that discourse has changed. You can now go to Farafenni and come back that same day. This 38-kilometer stretch, constructed by the Barrow administration, now connects the entire Sanjal under one economic agglomeration. To understand the impacts of government's interventions, especially on the lives of people in Bambali and the rest of Sanjal, I visited Alaji Sware. And as we discussed, I learned that Bambali is an old settlement. The village is also blessed with a 6-month freshwater supply from the River Gambia. And during the PPP era, the community served as an epicenter of rice production in the region.
It's very difficult than before to travel from Bambali to Serakunda, because there is a vehicle. In fact, the roads are not correct. The roads are very bad roads than we have it. So, and the driver to come here is a very hard for them to come here. So for that being the case, we face it as a very difficult for us to travel. In fact, it contributes our survival very hard. It makes the survival very hard on us.
The local economy is highly dependent on farming and artisanal fishing. Decades down the lane, Bambali has now lost standards in rice production. The scars of rural-urban drifting and its impacts are visible on vital sectors such as agriculture and the fishing industry.
We want the government to put consideration to us on our area of the farming and also in the area of the fishing side, because though we have the crane here, electricity here, but that does not enough us in our fishing side. Having been when we could have cold fish here, that is going to help us lots.
If we are able to have a tractor or power trailer in our village for all our plowing services, that will accelerate our efforts in food production. If the community is supported with farm machinery such as tractors and power trailers, the human resource of Bambali can possibly feed populations both within and outside the North Bank. For the news, I am Famarakani.
The Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute, with support from the European Union Youth Empowerment Project, have graduated 84 students from the Basse administrative area after going through a 6-month training in bakery and hospitality. Modlamin Sane has the details.
A significant day in the annals of the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institution as they graduate 84 students in Basse following an intensive 6 months of training in bakery and hospitality. The tourism skill training program, bankrolled by the European Union, through its youth empowerment project, intends to improve the tourism sector with highly trained personnel.
We are with the conviction that with the right training that you have, you will not only be job seekers but also creators of employment, especially those that have completed the bakery program. Some of you, I understand, are already in business, but of course this training will enhance your professional ability to be able to expand those businesses. For those who are not yet in business, I think you now have the required capacity to be able to establish one.
The tourism and hospitality training focuses on strengthening decentralization efforts, expanding tourism to create employment for young people in rural Gambia.
There is the strategic objective from the Ministry of Tourism that we have to decentralize tourism. And to decentralize tourism, we have to try as much as possible to take tourism activities outside the Greater Banjul area. To do this, you need to have the required human capacity in place, and you have to have the right investment. But the investors will not come and build hotels, restaurants, and tourism facilities in Basse, for example, or any part of URR if they are not sure of the human capacity.
Graduates were reminded their role in the development of tourism and hospitality as the sector moves to recover from the traveling downturn caused by the global pandemic.
We are from different areas, from different communities of this region. And then we have thousands of young people out there who are not fortunate to have this training that you have undergone. And it will be very unfair if you have this golden opportunity and you do not utilize it for the best of your opportunity and your people coming.
Indeed, a lot has been given by our tutors during the time we've interacted with them. It has been an interactive session and also a successful moment for both the students and the tutors during the course. Indeed, we are very grateful and very happy to go through this training.
Modu Lamin Sane reporting for GRTS News.
In a similar ceremony held simultaneously in Farafanya on Saturday, presided over by the Director General of GTHI, Mr. Dauda Nyang, 55 students graduated in hospitality skills and 20 students graduated in professional bakery as officials moved to decentralize the tourism and hospitality sector. Now, give more consideration to teacher and student welfare was the solemn call to the government and the partners from the Steve Sinot Foundation during an interface with educationists and stakeholders at the Gambia Teachers Union on Friday. The young Gambian ambassadors recognized the need for improved teacher-student welfare, which they illustrate as essential requirements for improved teaching and learning outcomes. Details in this report by Louis Mendy.
Look at her. Look at my friend. She has been traumatized before going to school. All she wanted was to get to class, have an education. But look at what happened to her. A reckless driver driving recklessly on the road, splashed water on her. We made her bump into the old man, the inconsiderate old man. Instead of helping her, verbally abusing her by telling her to open her eyes and watch where she's going. She is blind. Think about my other friends out there with special needs. Please consider in providing school buses for my friends with special needs.
My friend is that boy or girl who reads in class while sweating and feeling uncomfortable and even exhausted because of the house chores that he or she faced in the house. Who goes back to the house to the same chores, and the only thing he or she can think of after doing these chores is to sleep rather than catching up or studying his or her books because the load on him is too much.
I speak for that girl who wakes up early in the morning every day just to reach to school and reach the highway. It is dark, it is lonesome, and she is alone. Imagine the risk she has taken. She could be molested and even raped. She could be kidnapped and harmed. And on reaching the highway, all she has to know is that there is no bus. How do we expect her to reach school on time? Let us think of that girl, my friend, the asthmatic patient, who suffers an asthma attack because the bus is tight. Why is it happening? And why should it happen?
Some of us always get shy to get to the male teachers and tell them we need parts, even though the school is providing parts. But how can we get them? We only have access to what? To the male teachers than the female teachers due to what? The lack of female teachers in the rural areas.
I, as the teacher, I am exhausted. The class is overcrowded. The quantum of work the teacher has to do with such a big number. This situation needs to change.
We know that it's not everything that can be changed, but some things can be improved upon. So I want to tell you people that you are our last hope.
A solemn plea for teacher and student welfare. The messages were directed to lawmakers, the Ministry of Education, the Gambia Teachers Union, and stakeholders in the promotion of education. The Boys and Girls Campaigning for Improved Teacher and Student Welfare are members of the Steve Synod Foundation, formulated to honor and replicate the good work of late Steve Synod, the then General Secretary at the National Teachers Union of the United Kingdom.
These young people have spoken to MPs in the UK. They have been in dialogue with fellow campaign champions, students in the UK, and today their advocacy brings them to talk to us, most especially those of you who are at the round table where decisions are made, where laws are formulated.
And as the NAMs listened to the pleas, they knew the young ambassadors of the Steve Synod Foundation have a point.
The National Assembly of the Gambia has done a lot in the area of legislation. In the 5th legislature, we have passed disability bill. That's the people with special needs. And some of these things you have highlighted here have been catered for in that particular bill. I just want to make a commitment that we will join you in your advocacy.
The issues of students going to school and teachers should be a paramount priority as a country, and I think we need to advocate for that and then allocate enough resources for the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to take responsibility and also support the teachers and students in our country.
The theme for the World Teachers Day 2022 says, transformation of education begins with teachers, and is supporting the Boys and Girls Campaign for teacher and student welfare.
This is what we have as a society, as a country. All of us seated around this table at some point will exit the steering wheel. And those that will take over those steering wheels are these ones seated before us, communicating to us. And they are telling us their plight. So it is all upon us as the drivers now to really shape our destiny.
Formulated to promote the welfare of teachers, the Gambia Teachers Union hosted and threw their weight behind the Steve Synod Foundation call for teacher and student welfare.
We want just a one-off, just a deliberate prioritization for education. At least for once, the dynamics will change.
The play to do more to promote teacher and student welfare by the educationists and stakeholders sounds good, but the young ambassadors of the Steve Synod Foundation say they prefer actions to talking. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
Well, let's stay with education. A school press days make a brazen return, introducing students to journalism and media engagements. Press clubs from the West Coast region convened in Lamin Jados Academy on Wednesday to discuss pathways to effective journalism. The event brought together press clubs from several secondary schools across Lamin and West Coast to inculcate journalistic values in students planning future ventures in the media. Falilu Emal Janko.
A press club event inculcating journalistic values in students convenes young people planning future ventures in media work. Speaking at the occasion, the proprietor of Jados Academy, Lamin Wayeto, Madam Fatou Sissoko, advised students to keep up the hard work in order to become professional journalists they aspire for.
Championing, organizing, contributing
participating and involvement in doing whatever was necessary to support the school in building the great academic fortress and citadel of learning conducive enough to groom the next generations of problem solvers and achievers. Prepare to be better and strive to achieve the best and never settle for less.
Several dignitaries, including Abdullah Jawo of the Gambia Press Club and Ali Drame of Paradise TV, took turn to advise various school press clubs present about the ethics of professional journalism.
Journalism is more of something or somebody in charge of or that take the charge of sharing or disseminating information. So your job will more of have to do with gathering. First of all, you need to gather your information.
The role of journalists, civil society, teachers, parents and community in trying to make sure we combat the spread of misinformation. So we have a duty to expose so-called fake news, but we do not have the knowledge and skill to spot out and stop it in tracking it.
You as the young ones who want to venture into this field, please read. That's going to be my advice. Read as much as you can. Be focused. There is something that we are enjoying now because of democracy.
The event was characterized by drama performance and poetry by students.
Discipline is very important to be successful in life.
The school's karate club also displayed basic self-defense skills. Schools including St. Edward's Upper and Senior School of Biam, John Pickering Upper and Senior Secondary School of Daranka, and Lamen Daranka Lower Basic School, and host Jadus Academy have established press clubs to promote journalism and robust culture of writing in secondary schools. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Falilu Emel Janko.
Development Group Transformer Charity Organization recently partnered with the Ministry of Health to stage a 2-day seminar on diabetes awareness, diagnosis and management at Tanje Village. Hawanja tells us more.
Non-communicable diseases have been overtaking infectious over the past 2 decades, with people facing the outcome of health and lifestyle choices, presenting complex conditions. A service statistic report by the Ministry of Health largely attributes a spike in NCDs to lifestyle choices. Diabetics is one of the commonest non-communicable diseases in the Gambia, especially affecting senior citizens. This collaborative scheme by local charity Transformer Organization and the Ministry of Health aims to sensitize locals in Tanje on ways to control and manage disease after diagnosis. Locals were given free screening to check sugar levels and other conditions for immediate care during the event. Umar Badi, the representative from the Ministry of Health, highlighted the importance of health screening in detecting NCDs and hailed the partnership between Transformer Organization and the Health Ministry as an important step complementing government efforts.
The prevalence of diabetes now is 7.9%, and looking at that percentage is huge because 2.5 million people, and you have a percentage of 7.9 is huge. Strategy that we develop is calling for a multi-sectoral approach towards fighting non-communicable diseases in the Gambia. So whoever want to support us, you are complementing the effort of the Ministry of Health, you are complementing the effort of the government.
Diana Igwe dilated on ways the disease can be managed if diagnosed, with effective dietary advice which emphasizes avoidance of unhealthy carbohydrates.
It's very important that the local people are tested for diabetes, because majority of the black population has type 2 diabetes, which can be prevented. These days, we're being told that our local food is not good. The processed food that they import from outside is better. Well, we need to change that to say that if we prepare our food ourselves, we know what is in our food. and that will bring about a change of lifestyle. And if they exercise can bring down your sugar levels. And not only that as well, when you prepare your food, you know what is in your food and you can make it healthy.
Laming Bojang, who represented the Alcalo of Tanje, outlined the importance of the health seminar and how locals will further engage and spread knowledge gained with other people in the community.
I have my VDC with me in this seminar, and then I have the women's CAFOs, the group heads, the women's CAFO heads with me also in this seminar. From here, wherever we land, we are going to sensitize the general public about it.
The Transformer organization also donated 2 hospital beds to the Tanje Clinic to support emergency services. The organization, formed 10 years ago, has been assisting communities with scholarship, farm implements, and medical screening. The diabetic screening and awareness campaign is the organization's latest undertaking, supporting healthcare authorities to tackle non-communicable diseases. Hawanjai, GRTS News.
International Open University and partners on Thursday inaugurated a new branch in Soma, Lower River region. The new IOU Center is meant to complement government's effort in promoting access to higher education in rural Gambia. Our correspondent in the region has more on that development.
Lower River region of Jara Soma is the first region to have an IOU center outside the Greater Banjul area. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony, pioneers of the education sector renewed their commitment to enhance tertiary education throughout the country. Officials of the Regional Education Office in Mansa Konko held the initiative, noting that it will play a huge role in developing education in the region. Chief Yaya Jajusi of Jara West described the move as a right step in improving education in the region. He noted that the existence of the university in the area will reduce rural-urban migration.
Barisangal to the opportunity shot alla jamanola university shotota Gambia jayalo kombo baraman na da wala fanan yunya kata ye extension o kenan kana santoto kalondo shuti andalla nyin kamaral si alsi londo sotono ko molmen yalon ko be siring tubabu kundal to e ka soto nyama so bo kamala abe dahandiro kelala fananka bo mol bondi santo to be ta jurumi nyokan kombo momo ibe damento e sadati no binila primary education for a futa university.
Keba Dabo, Deputy Governor of LRR, also commended IOU for establishing a center in Lower River region while underscoring the importance of education in promoting socio-economic development.
Having the International Open University in this region is a blessing, a dream come true, and a celebrated achievement.
Dr. Bilal Phillips, the Chancellor of International Open University, said the center focuses on promoting Islam education. He spoke at length on the values of morality as prescribed in Islam.
The education in the IOU, the International Open University, is Islamized. And this is what we need to progress. The Muslim Ummah needs Islamized education because our education systems have come from our colonizers. And our colonizers decided that they didn't want to teach morality while teaching education. So they took morality out of education. Whereas Islamized education requires that morality be taught throughout the educational process.
Dr. Bilal used the opportunity to hail Gambians for supporting the establishment of the office in the Gambia. Usman Balde, GRTS News.
Meanwhile, regional authorities headed by the governor of the region, Sambaba, visited ongoing infrastructural works at the Tumana Health Facility, newly established fire and rescue service station in Baja Kunda, and Yarabawal Health Center. The visit was part of the governor's inspection tour of development activities in the area. Our regional correspondent Saidu Kamara was with the team and filed in this report.
The governor of the Upper River region visited multiple facilities during his recent tour of the region, meeting district authorities to discuss critical issues affecting development in the area. The delegation inspected ongoing construction works at the Tumana Health Facility.
We visited the new health center built in Tumanna, and what I said was I urged the contractors to make sure that they push up, because when the president came on holiday, he was there, and that was why I seized the opportunity to go and see and know the level of work. But definitely what I have seen, the health center at Mankamankunda is ahead of that other hospital, and they have promised me that in 2 weeks, 3 weeks time, there will be significant changes in that particular area, because they had some little bit of delay and so on. This is something that I urge them, and they are willing to comply. The government of the Gambia can only make sure that the facilities are created and what it meant for the facility to stay is available. That is, you build facilities, you provide them with drugs, to provide them with personnel to do the work. But again, His Excellency the President and any other person will not come back to that facility and then try to administer and do the work. There are people who are assigned to do responsibilities. I urge myself and urge every individual who is working in making sure that your place of work moves forward. Let us try to be committed to work. Let us try to make sure that we dedicate our service to the people whom you know that they are the ones in fact who are paying us. We are serving the people. Let's try to serve the people, you know, at the best of our ability.
In Wuli East, the top party also visited the first fire and rescue services substation in Bayakunda.
And we went to the fire service at the Bajakunda. I think this is the first time that we are having a fire station around, Wuli. And this is something that we definitely commend the government of the Gambia, and then we commend the Department of Fire Service under the Ministry of Interior. This is what we expect from government. Now that the fire service is there, we want to make sure that we ameliorate some of the problems that are there with regards to fire.
The establishment of this fire and rescue service station is meant to strengthen emergency response to fire incidents and other related issues.
Because if we don't have the hydrants, we cannot respond to fire issues immediately. Because in fact, filling the tank with water when you are improvising becomes very slow. And these are some of the things that we have. But then definitely the men there are doing extremely well, and they are more than motivated to stay in that particular area in making sure that what is being done in the southern part is also done in the northern part, so that we can address the fire. What I want to urge each and everybody is, anywhere you are posted, see it as your own home. Because the lives that you save there are also Gambian people, and they are very, very important that you take that opportunity and the responsibility to make sure that you serve those people.
Officials at the new fire service station in Bajakunda said they are equipped with a fire rescue attendant tank. The highlighted challenges in the area include lack of hydrants to access water during emergencies, with the team relying on this water tank to respond to fire incidents. The authorities are working closely with relevant stakeholders to provide hydrants in the area. This new facility at the Tumana Health Center is scheduled to be inaugurated at the end of the year. Seru Kamara, reporting for JSS News from Basse Upper River Region.
Now to this press release from the Gambia Armed Forces, which is pleased to inform the public the availability of highly competitive slots for young, intelligent and able-bodied Gambians into the armed forces, courtesy of the United States government. These special slots will avail the eventual successful candidates the unique privilege and honor to study in the following 4 areas of the United States service academies for a period of 4 years. These special areas include the United States Army, Air Force, Naval and Coast Guards. Candidates shall be subjected to a rigorous vetting, and successful applicants will be subjected to a basic fitness test. In this regard, a prospective candidate's vetting will exhaustively include the following. An applicant must be Gambian by birth. Applicant must not have been convicted by any court of law. Applicant should be between the tender ages of 17 to 22 years and must not be 23 years old by 1st July 2020. 2023. Applicant must successful completion of military training in the U.S. must return to serve in the Gambia Armed Forces. Applicant must have a minimum educational requirement of grade 12 WAS or its equivalent with 7 credits including mathematics and English language, and English language being the medium of study. Applicant must be certified medically and physically fit by competent medical practitioner. Male applicant should be at least 1.65 meters in height and weigh at least 60 kg, while female should be at least 1.63 meters and weigh at least 55 kg. Additionally, applicants should note that priority will be given to those already with Scholastic Aptitude Test or American College Test. Submission of application forms must be on or before 12 noon on Friday, 28th October 2022 at the Defense Headquarters in Banjul. While moving on to other news around the world, Nigeria experiences annual flooding, especially in coastal areas, but this year's floods are the worst in more than a decade. 14 million people had to flee their homes for camps set up on higher ground, but help is slow in arriving. Many roads and bridges are washed out. Sparked by the death of Jinan Masha Amini entered the 6th week. Shopkeepers and factory workers in several Iranian cities went on strike, activists said. Witnesses also said anti-government protests broke out at several universities in Tehran despite tight security. In Berlin, tens of thousands of people demonstrated on Saturday in solidarity with the protest movement in Iran. According to the police, about 80,000 people took part in the rally. The organizers of the event initially expected 50,000 participants. Participants held up Iranian flags and signs criticizing Iran's leader, many with the tagline Women Life Freedom in both English and German. Now, the first of 9,000 Russian troops have arrived in Belarus. Minsk and Moscow say they are setting up a joint unit to defend the borders of Belarus. Its leader, Alexander Lukashenko, claims his country faces threats from neighboring Ukraine and its Western allies. Ukraine accuses Moscow of trying to draw Belarus into war. Political scientist Yekterina Sulkulman left Russia shortly after the war started. She told DW why she thinks and Belarus have set up this joint unit. And now to end the news, a look at our main points once again. Regional delegates are meeting in Dhaka for the 15th annual forum and gala of operatives for guarantee of economic emergence in Africa. Road networks brightening development prospects in rural Gambia. GRTS has been examining the impact of a new 38-kilometer route scheme connecting major centers in the North Bank region. And unprecedented judicial advances versus the sluggish pace of justice delivery. A raging backlog of cases is slowing down jurisdictional procedures in the Gambia's legal sector. Away from home, Nigeria is experiencing its worst coastal flooding in more than a decade, with nearly 1.5 million people fleeing their homes for higher ground. And the first 9,000 Russian troops arrived in Belarus as Minsk and Moscow set up a joint unit against mounting Ukrainian offensives. And that was all we had time for in today's edition of GRTS News. From me and the entire news team, we want to thank you for the pleasure of your company and continue watching GRTS.
Ulione mi ofisei buraka boleli bu chenceng wajupoe andum wagabe nolim di buraka boleli